It's a real hammer, national-level dirty tricks really hammered. A few days ago, the incident involving the Cambodian Prince Group is causing a stir. Chen Ji's Bitcoin worth $15 billion was directly confiscated by the US, shocked the whole world's jaws. There was a question that caused people's confusion at that time. A Bitcoin is not known for its decentralization and security, is it? As long as you hold the private domain in your hands, no one can touch your money. But the United States didn't even catch Chen Ji himself. How did they get his 120,000 Bitcoins in one pot? Until recently, National Computer Virus Emergency Response Center published a report which unveiled the mystery of this shocking case. It turns out that punishing the $15 billion in Bitcoin was stolen by the United States 4 years ago. We have to start talking about this in 2020. The largest mining pool in the currency circle at that time was called the Lubian Pool. Main operating bases are in China and Iran. The computing power can account for 6% of the entire network. Who is the big boss behind the Lubian Pool? That's right, it's Cambodia's Prince Group, that is Chen Ji. The result that on December 28, 2020, this mining pool was robbed. A total of 127,000 bitcoins were stolen by hackers overnight, even based on the market value at that time. These bitcoins just be worth $3.5 billion. Now it has risen to $15 billion. It stands to reason that the hacker got the money. They will be thinking about put money in the bag to feel secure. It's better to cash out these bitcoins as early as possible, but in the next 3 years, this batch of bitcoins was completely flat. The attacker's wallet address has been dormant for a long time. No transactions occurred until June 2024. This batch of bitcoins has been dormant for a long time, then finally transferred to the new wallet address. The label at the new address actually says it was held by the US government. Good heavens, the man behind the scenes finally surfaced. Everything can be explained clearly. No wonder hackers are so powerful. A large mining pool can be emptied overnight. It turns out this was a state-level hacker attack led by the US government. Then another 16 months passed. The US Department of Justice slowly took action, prosecuting Chen Ji on suspicion of transnational electronic fraud and money laundering. The 127,000 bitcoins were confiscated. That is to say, in fact, as early as 4 years ago, Chen Ji, these 127,000 bitcoins was already in the pocket of the US government. It's just that they haven't moved this bitcoins. They finally admitted it this year. Just because of these 127,000 bitcoins, the US government's Bitcoin reserves surged to 325,000. Becoming the institution with the largest number of Bitcoin holdings in the world. It can be described as Chen Ji falling, America falling. Then the question comes: is Bitcoin still safe? How the US government broke the line of defense and stole these bitcoins? The answer was actually very simple. On the one hand, it was Chen Ji spin a cocoon around himself. On the other hand, the technological crushing of the US. It was very clear in the analysis report. Originally, Bitcoin's Pravari key required the use of 256 bits and binary system random number. The level of complexity was like finding a grain of sand in the universe. It was difficult to crack with current technical means. However, the Urban Lubian, actually using a 32-bit pseudorandom number generator. As a result, the intensity in April was greatly reduced. It was equivalent to a priceless treasury in the town. In the end, only a plastic lock was installed, liking a little more wary of gentlemen than villains. So the US government directly violently cracked, leveraging cutting-edge hacking techniques. Only 2 hours, Lubian Bitcoin were almost drained. There were only about 200 Bitcoins left. What's more interesting is that even though his home was robbed, Chen Ji still refused to admit it at that time. Just keep sending messages on the blockchain to beg for mercy. He sent more than 1,500 messages in total, begging hackers to return bitcoins. To get these bitcoins back, how humble is Chen Ji? He didn't even dare to say that the other party had hacked the mining pool. Instead, they call the other party a white hat hacker, transferring bitcoin to protect his property. As long as the other party was willing to return it. He was willing to pay huge sums. Facing this condition, if it was an ordinary hacker, maybe they really took bitcoins in exchange for ransom. But Chen Ji never expected that. The other party turned out to be a national hacker from the world's most powerful country. So no one paid any attention to him. As a result, the Lubian closed soon after. For Chen Ji, of course he deserved it. His Prince Group claims to have operations all over the world. Chen Ji himself is also a guest of Cambodian senior officials and famous philanthropic entrepreneur. But in fact, what he was doing was kill and rob. There were countless victims. He has built more than 10 e-fraud parks in Cambodia, surrounded by barbed wire were confiscated passports, victims of restrictions on personal freedom. They were often beaten brutally, even the kidney was lost, forced to engage in electronic fraud, making money for Chen Ji. It can be said that every bitcoin in Chen Ji's hands was stained with sin, but the US who involved punishment in this case, was definitely not justice. According to US law, this $15 billion in bitcoin should be used to compensate victims as a priority. The remaining money could be nationalized, but there were so few victims in the US I won't tell you who were really deceived. Everyone also knows America stole this money 4 years ago but didn't return it to the victim. Deliberately delayed it for 4 years, probably just trying to muddy the waters so as to embezzle this property. This $15 billion in Bitcoin is not a small amount of money for the US. It's enough to build 2 to 3 aircraft carriers. What's more, the US is now under great financial pressure. Government shutdown lasts longer than ever. They have strong demand for debt elimination. There will be more and more such shady operations in the future. This incident also reminds us that increasingly turbulent international situation proposes higher requirements for digital security and network security. In the future digital economy, digital currency must lay a solid foundation for security. Otherwise, a little carelessness may lead to disastrous consequences.